All right, let's dive right in. We're going to pull back the curtain on a strategic preview for the Certified Professional Biller exam, looking at it exactly how we do at exam coaches. We're going to focus on the key ideas that honestly trip up most people. You have to get this in your head right from the start. This is the absolute truth of medical billing. Success isn't about scrambling after a denial hits your desk. Nope. It's about preventing it from ever happening in the first place. Every single detail matters. And that right there, that's the huge mindset shift you need to make. We tend to think of billing as this thing that happens in a back office somewhere, right? But the reality is, the money trail, the revenue cycle, it all kicks off the second a patient checks in. The front desk sets the stage for everything. So here's the deal. The CPB exam isn't just testing if you can fill out a form correctly. Not at all. It's testing if you understand the entire revenue cycle from the ground up. It wants to know, can you connect all the dots? And this is where so many candidates get stuck. They focus laser sharp on the claim forms, on the codes, but they completely miss these foundational front-end details. These are the blind spots that lead to denials. And you know what? They're also what lead to failing the exam. So today, we're going to give you a peek into a different way of thinking, a methodology that trains you to connect all these pieces, to think like a certified pro from that very first hello at the front desk. Let's start with demographics. Look, this is step one, the absolute beginning. And it is so much more than just typing in a name and address. You are literally creating the patient's identity in the system. If you get this step wrong, the entire claim is built on sand. Just look at this list. Every single one of these data points has to be perfect, 100% accurate. We're talking about nailing the patient's identity, their insurance eligibility, right down to the policy number and those critical effective dates. A single typo here, that's a denial just waiting to happen. Which leads us to this question. Just think about it for a second. One wrong number in a birthday, one transposed digit in a policy ID, what kind of chaos does that create down the line? Let's just let that sit for a minute. Okay, next up, the Superbill, or the encounter form. Now think of this document as the ultimate translator. It's the crucial bridge that takes everything that happened in the exam room and turns it into the language of billing codes. And you can see right here what it captures. The patient's info, which, by the way, we got from those perfect demographics, is now tied directly to the procedure codes and diagnosis codes. It's telling the insurance company the story of the visit in a language they can actually process. This brings us to a huge question the CPB exam loves to test. How does that patient visit actually turn into cash? The Superbill is the tool for sure, but understanding the process, that's the secret sauce. Now, let's talk about our third piece, retention of records. So, if the Superbill tells the story, the complete medical record, that's your evidence, that's your proof. Every claim you send out is basically an argument, and these records are what you use to win that argument if you're ever audited. And make no mistake, this is not optional, this is serious compliance. We're talking state and federal laws. I mean, just look at the CMS rule for Medicare Advantage. Providers have to keep those records for a full 10 years. The stakes here are sky high. So imagine this. You get a notice. A payer is auditing a claim from 7 years ago. The only thing that determines whether you can defend that payment is your record keeping. Can you even find the proof? All right, finally, let's hit on balance billing. You've probably heard this called a surprise bill, and for good reason. Patients almost never see it coming. It's that gap between what the doctor charges and what the insurance company actually pays. For a biller, you have to know when you can and absolutely cannot do this. So what's the magic dividing line? It all comes down to one word, contract. If a provider is in-network, they have a contract that says they'll accept the insurance company's rate, period. They can't bill the patient for the rest. But if they're out of network, whole new ballgame. That contract is everything. And that's our last question for this preview. Understanding where that line is, it's not just good business. It's what keeps you, your provider, and your practice out of some very serious legal trouble. Okay, let's put this all together now. You ready? Demographics. They create the patient's identity.
Then, Superbills take that identity and the visit, and they create the actual claim.
Your record retention that protects your compliance by proving the claim is legit. And finally, balance billing rules. They define who is financially responsible for what. See the flow? It's a system. And this is the heart of the exam coach's framework. These aren't just 4 random topics you need to memorize for a test. They are a system of interconnected controls. Get the front end right, and you control claim success, you ensure compliance, and you get accurate payments. It's that simple. Because at the end of the day, passing the CPB exam isn't about memorizing boxes on a form. It's about a deep understanding of this process, knowing that a successful bill is decided long before you ever click submit. Look, what we just did here, that was just a quick peek. The full framework, where we connect all these dots and so much more, that's all waiting for you inside.